Welcome back. Now, November election, Anambra State's November 8th election, which is tomorrow. We are just less than 24 hours away from that election, and we're still talking about everything that concerns it and the preparations gearing up to tomorrow. Now, joining us this morning via Zoom, we have Comrade Alloysius Attah. He's a journalist and chairman, Civil Liberties Organization, Southeast Zone. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Am I confident?
Can you hear me, Mr. Alloysius?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, can you tell us what you think about the election so far? I mean, there has been a lot of news about this election, the candidates and everything, all the preparations gearing towards the election. What do you think about it?
Well, I'm around the world
Charles, remove your hands.
Okay. We only have
So far, how would you assess the candidates, their manifestos and their campaigns compared to the previous elections? Mr. Attah, if you can hear me, we are finding it difficult to hear you. So if you can reassess your network and reconnect with us, we'll actually appreciate it. But then we'll go on a short break. Welcome back. Now, Mr. Alloysius, if you can hear me, you were assessing the previous elections, the candidates, their manifestos and their campaign with the according to the election that will come up tomorrow. Mr. Alloysius, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
All right, please go ahead with what you were saying before.
Yes, I was actually saying that what we are witnessing in Anambra right now is a case of the declining political vibrance, in the sense that people are now disillusioned. The politicians, the actors who are not available for proper scrutiny and interrogation. Because I'm here practicing in Anambra for many years now, and I can tell you that even the APC candidate, I didn't cite his manifesto anyway. The Africa candidate who is the governor seeking re-election, will always tell us that they are still whining. That can afford me for the bit of it. So a kind of telling you that he will do more, he will do more. But even the manifesto he used for, he has now used about 4 years now, was not properly interrogated to see how far he has actually followed the outline of that manifesto in delivering dividends of democracy to the people. Yes, we descended to the level of name calling, unnecessary quarrel, and interrogating total languages and things like that, trying to demean the other person that the person is not qualified, the person is not this, that. So that vibrancy and scrutiny is lacking. And it's really an issue that makes me worried to that extent.
All right. So if they are not focusing on the manifestos, or like you said they are no longer available for proper scrutiny, where does that leave the electorate? How do they now choose who to vote for?
That is the tragedy. Because the electorates are now left at the pedestrian level of a case of the devil you know may be better than the angel you don't know. And also this degeneration of the system of vote buying also. You still see people interacted with people, and you still see them have that mindset that when they get to the polling unit, they are ready to grab because what is why they have not received anything. So they are ready to collect money from as much as the available candidates that are ready to dish out money or dish out cash for votes. But at the end of the day, they likely they know where they are going. Not actually that they are going that way because they believe that this person has something tangible or concrete to do things differently as an A-list state. But in the case of this is how we are, and we have settled for that because we don't have any other option. So it is actually not a very good situation at all. Political development in Anambra State. We are supposed to have outgrown this stage by now, but unfortunately, this is still where we are.
So what would you say is the reason behind this declining political vibrancy, as you put it? You mentioned that even the other candidates are not particularly doing much in terms of their manifesto, and the incumbent governor too, his manifesto has not been put through proper scrutiny. What led to this declining political vibrancy in Anambra State?
There are so many reasons behind that, but you find a situation whereby the incumbent uses power in such a way that he is maximizing that power to a certain extent that he is actually in control, because he controls the town union, he controls market, he controls youth associations, he controls almost every sector and what have you. So in such a way that they are doing these things in such a way that those outside that government, they don't have any other option. And the people also, instead of realizing that the state resources should be accounted for to the last couple. That we are doing this thing, whatever the level of development we have brought into the state, that you did not use this, do those things out of your personal resources, but actually from the resources of the state. So, and therefore, we expect more from you. But what we have seen also again, surprisingly, is the situation where those communities that are supposed to interrogate this thing end up bringing another or heavy competition of where they contribute money and give to the government, and they are using this money to support you and to make sure you continue what you are doing. And it becomes a bragging right between communities. You know that we gave the government 200 million and you people could not raise 20 million from your own community. So I'm not introducing another dangerous trend into the whole thing that should get every rational thinking person actually worried, as in, where are we going if we continue this way? So, and the other people are like, this man has done these things in such a way that there is no systematic goal for us. They keep just running around the circle, and in the game, already a kind of they have shown signs of defeat already, even before the election is conducted properly.
Mr. Attah, now, what do you think is the demand of the people of Anambra State? What is the demand of the electorate? And since there is little or no manifestos from the candidates, how can we get the electorate to vote for quality or competence rather than being swayed by inducement?
That is my worry, as I keep saying, because you find out I've checked most times different communities across. Instead of presenting chapters of demand to the governor, or whatever, whoever is coming to campaign, it is more of we are going to support you so that you continue your good work. You continue your good work. We know your antecedents. We know you will do this for us and do more. You see them not actually holding that government accountable. You see them not actually presenting chapter of demand. There are so many challenges in Anambra that when you talk about that the government is building roads, but there are so many roads that are still unattended. There are so many dilapidated facilities across, even infrastructure in the schools and the rest of them. But unfortunately, you don't see communities making this chapter of demand. It is more of a bandwagon of giving unalloyed support. I don't know where we are going under this atmosphere. That is the true situation. I've not actually, across about 175 communities in Anambra, I've not actually seen any that actually came up with the chapter of demand for the government. It is more of organizing rally. We want you to continue. You are doing well. You are doing bad. No concrete interrogation.
Okay, now earlier on you mentioned the incumbent Governor Soludo and the name calling and his behavior so far during the campaigns, and you also spoke about the unhealthy competition among the candidates, and that he has control of almost everything and almost everywhere. So it's as if the other candidates don't have much to contend with him. But at the same time, you also mentioned that the people of Anambra are not particularly pleased with Soludo and his handling of his manifesto for this first 4 years that he has handled. So what is the balance between that? Where does that leave Soludo? What prospects does he have in this election? I
didn't get what the last thing.
I asked what prospects he has in the election, seeing that on one hand the people seem not to be particularly pleased with Soludo and his handling of his manifesto in the first 4 years, and also his behavior, like you mentioned, the name calling and all the other things that he has done leading up to this election, and the unhealthy competition between him and his fellow candidates. So where does that leave him in the election? Do you think that he is going to make it through as the next governor, or do you think that it's going to be much of a struggle with all of that?
Hello?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
That is not all that pleased with the incumbent government is already mooted. What I said is that there is a bandwagon of giving the incumbent governor regular support and even giving him more money instead of interrogating him how he has used the resources in the last 4 years. So, from every indication, there is no displaying party. This is going to play out tomorrow. If the opposition didn't come up with any game plan of a systemic rigging, the incumbent is going to carry the day unassailable, because from what we have seen on the ground already, it is not like a bandwagon of we continue. It's very, very obvious from what we are seeing now. Every other voice that is not pleased is already mooted. It's already in the finance and in the very, very lower minority. There doesn't actually count from what I'm seeing now, honestly speaking.
Now you've done a bit of assessment on Charles Soludo. Now let's take a look at Nicholas Ukachukwu of APC and the Labour Party's George Moralo. From your assessment, do you think that the both parties, APC and Labour Party, actually has a realistic part in unseating the incumbent party?
Well, if you follow the trend, what I've seen so far, I must be realistic. I discovered that the bulk of the people that follow the APC candidate are following him that is ready to drop something. They want to make capital gains out of his governorship ambition. Not actually that they are really working for him to deliver him on the election day. That is the truth of the matter. I've interrogated, I've been around, I see them, they call us for press briefing and the rest of them, they move around. Some of the people around him, they are just in a competition to grab as much as possible for their own personal gain. Not actually that they are working for him to become the government. And if you look at what's going on also, it seems to be the reality. So, then sometimes you see them bragging and it's already taken, Abuja has spoken, blah, 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 things like that. So, we're actually going to see how it pans out tomorrow. But from the benefit of hindsight and what I've seen so far. And then, in the midst of all these things, our people in Anambra here, they still have a lot of reservations about that party, APC. I don't know why. Likewise, the candidate also, so many reservations. So, I wonder how it's going to translate for victory for him tomorrow. But that is also, they may have their game plan, we see. For the Labour Party also, the candidate, from his persona, I have not seen anybody giving him a kind of negative backing. So, but you still find out that the clouds to make it to govern Anambra across the local governments and polling units and the rest of them, and what I've seen so far, what they have done, I don't think they can make it. Funny enough, also, the Labour Party candidate is from Newi, and another candidate of ADC is also from Newi. Both of them are even going to divide votes among themselves, and at the end of the day, it's a kind of both of us. Okay, we have struggled, but we end up nobody makes it at the end of the day. So the only chances is that the incumbent has so many edge over every other candidate.
All right. Now, moving away from the candidates, let's look at INEC and the role that they will play in this election. There is a new INEC chair, Amopiton, and he is to use this Anambra State election as a litmus test, you know, for his first official assignment. So, what do you think about all of that and, you know, the role that INEC has to play in the elections?
I can't hear you.
Mr. Attah, can you hear me? Can you hear me, Mr. Attah?
Yes, I can hear now.
Now, I asked about INEC and the role that INEC will play in this election, seeing that the new INEC chair, Amopiton, is to use this election as his first test tomorrow. So how do you see that looking like? What do you see the INEC doing for this election?
Okay. Well, we have to give the benefit of that to the new INEC chairman. I've seen a kind of sincerity in his words. Even the REC in charge of Anambra, I've also seen a kind of sincerity in her words too. But in reality, on election day, it is not always like that. Because sometimes I find out that the INEC chairman or the resident electoral commissioner is not everywhere. Most of the things that happen in the field, they are not aware. You find out that across different polling units, the presiding officer, some of the ad hoc staff and the rest of them, when we see a situation whereby when they go to the field, they become automatic members of a particular political party that is projected to lead the day. Whereby you see them collude with some of these party people, or they just relax and turn their blind eye to the activities, clandestine activities of these political parties at their agent. So, a situation where the INEC officials will be sitting idly their table and allow vote buying to go on seamlessly, and allow people also to vote and show who they are voting for. And at the end of the day, they also operate in allocating figures. So the chairman is not there. The REC is not there. But when these things happen across different polling units, you see that the result will be a predetermined result already. So while we can say that the new headsman is prepared to do things right, he cannot change the pendulum if those at the field decide to do otherwise, and if it becomes a coordinated effort, systemic. That is how what we have to see across board.
Thank you for joining us in the studio this morning and for giving us the election update in Anambra State.
Thank you, you're welcome.
All right, now we round up that conversation on Anambra decides November 8th for the election, and that is where we end that countdown. And stay with us, we'll be right back. After now, Signature Morning continues.